to elaborate on the economy a little more.
Sure.
I mean, I work in a lot of the area in western Iowa, and I can feel that, I think, I said this to my wife a couple of years ago, the perfect economic storm is coming. And my understanding from the figures is we're about $55 trillion with entitlement programs in the red. And that issue is on the horizon to top off everything else that's going on. And if there's one message that I'd like to take back to Washington, it's that stop worrying about Roger Clemens on steroids and start addressing this problem, because it's going to be a tidal wave and it's going to overtake us fast. And it's, how is Social Security going to be handled? I mean,
Well, I can tell you I can tell you how to handle it, but from my perspective, I can tell you that my perspective was this, to do it in 2005 because it was an issue in the last election, and we had more or less a mandate to do something about it. And so in 2005, I started holding hearings of the committee I chaired. Finance has jurisdiction over that, and thought in terms of, first of all, getting all the Republicans together, and then bringing the Democrats to the table, because you've got to have a bipartisan agreement or you're not going to get anything through the Senate. And I could only get 9 of the 11 Republicans together, so I didn't have a broad enough sweep to get the Democrats to the table, and the Democrats weren't going to come to the table until we forced them there, because we raised the issue. So they saw it as our problem. They know it's a problem, but they saw it as our political effort, that they weren't going to help us along. But I would have increased the age of retirement. I would have changed the index for people above medium income to be the wage index for the people below median income to be the CPI, and then there probably would have been some tax increase. I would have wanted just a very small percentage of it being tax increase, and probably would have set up some, give people the option, not a mandate, but an option of having personal accounts. But why it didn't go, it wasn't our efforts, it was the effort. If I had a town meeting like this in spring of 2005, it would have been filled with senior citizens. You're ruining my Social Security. But they didn't know, or if they knew it, they wanted to ignore it. In a period of transition, you've got to give people an opportunity to change. It would have exempted anybody over 55 years of age, but the AARP cranked them up. You're going to take away our Social Security. And then you'd think, well, the young people, because we were saving it for the young people, would have shown up at the town meeting and been in support of it, because the young people say to me, you know, where's my Social Security? You know, it's in jeopardy. I'm not going to get it. And so they didn't show up. We thought that the president gave 48 speeches around the country that spring, just on the subject of Social Security. You know, follow on what he was elected to do. And we were really beat before we started between the unions and the AARP. They brought a stop to it. And that's only a $10 or $12 trillion problem compared to Medicare and Medicaid maybe being a $40 trillion problem. And when I say 40 trillion, that's a 75-year figure, because all of these, every year, the figures of the board of trustees look at it and say what's happening to Social Security. So they look ahead 75 years. I'll tell you how bad it is. If you were, well, I'll just describe to you. The Secretary of HHS comes to our committee meeting a year ago. Senator Smith from Oregon says to him, you know, if we don't do something about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, you're going to be the only department of government. You know why? Because they're on a track to eat up every dollar coming into the federal government. At that point, there's no money for defense, education, roads, anything else. It's government basically becomes an income transfer agency, taking money from young people, giving it to old people. So we gotta change that, but you're not gonna get it changed unless there's a bipartisan agreement to do it. And I hate to tell you this, but based upon the last time Social Security was in trouble, 1981, it had to be busted before Congress sat down and did something in a bipartisan way to get away with it. And I wish I could tell you otherwise. But I told you how I was in a leadership position to do something about it and worked harder. We had 15 meetings of our committee members to try to reach an agreement. We couldn't do it.
Where did that money go? I mean, it's been being paid into, it's my understanding it's been being used for the regular budget and
Well,
not...
that's the easiest part of your question to answer. Like I said, it was negative cash flow. There's only been 2 years that there's been negative cash flow in Social Security since 1936, 1981 and 82. 83 or 84 finally got a bipartisan agreement to cut benefits and increase taxes, things like that. And so since about 1987, there's been positive cash flow. And there'll be positive cash flow until the year 2017. That extra money coming in is invested in treasury bonds with an IOU to the trust fund and the interest going into the trust fund. Then after 2017, when you start to get a negative cash flow between 2017 and 2042, those IOUs will keep benefits at 100%. The existing law says that when those benefits are used, or those IOUs are used up, then you pay out what comes in. So at that point in 2042, based upon estimates of April of this year, looking at 75 years, will be young people retiring in 2042 will get 70% of benefits based on the cash flow. So that's why it's important to do something about it sooner than later.